Hello ladies and gents, welcome along to another video. So today we're going to run through some early knee exercises, early post-operative exercises. So these are going to be useful for you to do in the first few weeks after surgery. A lot of these you might have got on a sheet from your physio or from the actual surgeon themselves. So we're going to run through them just to have a really nice reference rather than just a sheet of paper, and also something to keep you ticking on until you get to come to Flint House at some point. So these exercises are going to be really useful post-surgery. Generally we're looking at post-knee surgery, so things like meniscectomy, so where they take a bit of the cartilage away, even things like ACL surgeries, again when they're looking to repair that big ligament in the middle of the knee. But any general surgery on the knee, so arthroscopic surgeries, this will be quite useful for to get that range. Total knee replacements or unicompartmental, so half knee replacements, also quite useful to getting that bend and straining. Any surgery or any acute injury that's quite sore on the knee and you want to get it bending and straightening a little bit. We will look as well later on during the exercises at some general strengthening ones for the whole lower limb, which are quite easy to do immediately in those early stages post-injury or post-operatively. So most of these exercises that we're going to do are going to be laid on your back. Some of them are in different positions, but we'll let you know about them as you go through. So this video is not going to be like a follow-along class. It's going to be much more based around individual exercises that we're going to group together. So we'll show them for a minute or two, and then we'll move on to the next one. If you feel that they're not going on long enough, then you can increase the time that you are doing them for. So don't be frightened to pause the video and just do a few more repetitions. When you feel you've done enough, then move on to the next one. Equipment wise, we're going to need very little for these exercises, so cushions, block or books work quite well. I've got a foam roller which works really nicely. A seat for some of the exercises. If you've got any TheraBand, then TheraBand's really useful as well, and I'll show you through all of these, but very little kit needed for these exercises. So the first exercise we're going to run through is one to increase your knee bend a little bit, so heel slides. Again, all you need is a mat and a bit of slidey floor. So laying with your operated or injured leg out straight, just going to slowly bring that foot in as far as you can, bending through the knee till it gets to a bit of mild discomfort, and then extending out and then repeating. So a bit of discomfort, 2s, 3s out of 10 on a pain scale of 0 to 10 is about where you're looking for with this one. Certainly if it's getting up to 5s, if we're pushing a bit hard, but a little bit of discomfort and soreness is fine. As we're putting that heel in towards your bum, working on flexion through the knee. Again, if you can't get the leg all the way straight, just going as far as you can at the moment. Again, repetitions, as discussed with your physio after surgery, or about 15 or so of these, a couple of times during the day, just to work on that range of motion. So again, when you're bending that knee up, just hold in that flex position for 5 or 6 seconds. The other option of this one as well is you can do it laid on your back with the foot up on the wall and then sliding down. This one's really nice because it allows gravity to help you out. Not always the easiest if you don't have a piece of wall that's easy to bend and straighten that leg up and down against. So once you've got a nice bit of knee flexion with your dog assisting you out, you can add a towel to pull that in. You want about 90 degrees before you start adding a towel in to pull you into a bit more flexion. And again, if you've got a dog as an assistant, even better. So once you're starting to find the sliding a little bit easier, towel around your ankle, gently pull your knee in as far as you can, hold for a couple of seconds, and then relax off that stretch, and then repeating. So towel nearer your ankle to give you a bit more leverage. As you're pulling in, you can go a little bit further each time, do so, and then returning back out. Again, don't have to go all the way straight. The next clip will show you how to straighten that knee a little bit more. So really pulling in as far as you can, and then extending away. Each time going a little further, using as much of the towel as you need to increase that knee bend past 90 degrees. So the next exercise we're going to look at is a bit more of the straightening of the knee. So we've looked at bending, let's have a little look at straightening. So we're going to start in that same position, and then we're going to extend all the way through, and this time you're going to try and push the back of your knee into the floor, squishing the back of your knee in, raising your heel off, and then either just relaxing there, or you can take it out, that straightening a little bit, and then pushing in. Again, if you can't get it all the way straight, just going as far as you can comfortably. Again, with this one you might want to hold for a couple of seconds at the bottom position as you extend through. So to progress on the straightening side of things, we can raise our foot onto a little block and just let that leg work into some gentle extension from that position. So heel on the block, and literally just allow that knee to sag down towards the floor and just holding it. You can put something that has a bit of weight to it, so a heavy book on your thigh for instance, just to allow that to assist. Certainly if you're stuck in a little bit of a straightening, you can do that. The other nice variation of this is to lay on your bed on your tummy with your legs hanging over the edge of the bed, and that again works you into some extension. Again, holding that position for as long as you feel you can comfortably when you're on the bed. This one, again, come out of it, hold it for 10 or 15 seconds, and then come out of that position. So the other thing that we need to be mindful of post-surgery, certainly when it comes to knees, is quadriceps strength and wasting through them, so where you lose some of that muscle bulk. So really important to try and get them nice and strong. So the way we get them nice and strong, in that sat position, just trying to squeeze the back of your knee in towards the floor, really squeezing through the quads, and again holding for 5 to 10 seconds, and then relaxing off and having another good squeeze of those quads. This one's slightly different from that range side of things, because we're really trying to be active through those quadriceps muscles as you're pushing the back of the knee into the floor, squeezing through those quads. So again, repeating these 8 to 10 times, a couple of times during the day, certainly on those initial stages post-operatively. To progress that, we can lay flat, squeeze those quads as we just did, pull your toes towards your shin, and then raise that leg up as far as you feel comfortable with, and then nice and controlled back down, relaxing at the bottom, squeezing the back of your knee in, toes towards your shin, extending through that hip, and then lowering back down. So again, working on strength through the quads, bit of hip flexor strength as well. So again, toes towards your shin, squeeze, lift, and that lift doesn't have to be as high as I'm doing it, as high as you feel you can control. Squeeze, and if that lifts just to there to start with, it's perfectly fine. Goal again is to get those leg muscles, those quad muscles, thigh muscles working to help lift that leg up and down. So again, similar sort of numbers, 8 to 10. If you can feel you manage 12 in one set, then do so. And either doing 3 or 4 sets, or repeating one set a few times through the day, depending on your pain levels and how you feel the knees getting on. So another progression from there is to get a bit more movement going on through the knee whilst we're squeezing those quads. So I'm going to demonstrate with a foam roller. I'll also quickly show you with a cushion if you don't have a foam roller. We'll demonstrate first with that foam roller. So back of the knee, supported by the foam roller, squeezing through the quads, lifting that foot, holding for a few seconds, and then returning back down. So if you can hold for 5, hold for 5 at the top, squeezing through, and again, lifting that foot through a bit of range. If you don't have access to a foam roller, you've got a pillow as an option. Again, you can just sit behind the knee, and we're going to work through in exactly the same way, squeezing those quads, lifting that foot as high as you can, off. Again, repeating this 8 to 12 times to really get those quads muscles going. You can do multiple sets, just do multiple sets. If not, have a relax for a few hours and then repeat later on during the day. Again, listen to the advice of your surgeon. If they've suggested doing just one set a few times a day, stick to that. If they've not given you any reps and sets, then again, do it on an individual basis depending on how your knee is recovering and what sort of surgery you've had. So once you've got some good range and that knee's feeling a little bit stronger, we can do some knee extensions. So in that sat position, we're going to just gently extend through the leg as far as you can, returning back down. Again, repeating to get those muscles working a little bit. Lots of ways you can add resistance to this exercise. I've got a band that I'll demonstrate in a minute. If you've got ankle weights, they work really nicely. You can strap them to your ankle to work through that range of motion, again as you're extending through. If, for instance, you've had ACL surgery and they've asked you not to do any resisted work with bands, with the weight around your ankle, or with any resistance around your ankle, please don't add any resistance to this exercise until your surgeon is happy for you to do so. Again, following those protocols is really important. If they've asked you not to do something, please don't do anything. If you can add some resistance to that, say you've had just a meniscectomy or something a bit less invasive than ACL surgery, etc., then you can add some resistance to it. So resistance bands work really nicely. So putting them around your ankle can work. Problem with that is they tend to slip around. So it's a really nice, easy little hack. If you pull them forwards, twist it over, and wrap it around the front of your foot, it won't go anywhere. And again, we can just add some resistance to that exercise quite nicely. Pressing through, trying to keep the thigh as still as you can as you're extending through that knee to overload those quads a little bit more. So those exercises are really nice and specific to the knee. Some general strengthening for the hip and the glutes can also be done when we're laying on the mat and in those immediate post-surgery phases. So again, these might be on your sheet from your surgeon, or they might not have been given to you yet. They're nice ways to just generally keep moving and make sure we're working those legs. So the first one we're going to look at is a shoulder bridge. So laying on your back, knees bent up as much as you can. So again, this might not be one you want to do until you've got a little bit more bend through your legs, and then lifting your hips to work your glutes. Again, if you can't get your legs that bent, you can do it slightly straighter, even if you can't get your feet on the floor. Just bending and keeping your feet equal, so try not to be too sort of skew width with your feet. Try and make sure you're nice and equal. Again, mainly for your glutes, this exercise, your bum muscles. Also works your hamstrings a little bit more, certainly if your knees are a bit straighter. If you can get those feet flat on the floor, really squeezing those glutes to lift up. Again, I would suggest to keep you moving 8 to 12 reps, 3 to 4 times. You can do these exercises as a mini little circuit. So bridge is a really nice way to start that circuit. We can then look at things laid on your side. So laying on your side, we've got clams. So hips at 45 degrees, knees at 90. Keep your pelvis still. Imagine you're laid against the wall behind you, and then we're rotating through the hip to lift that knee up and down. Again, really good way to activate those muscles. Doesn't put too much strain on the knee as you're lifting up and down from there. With that injured leg still on top, we can do straight leg raises. So lifting straight leg up and down. Again, working your glutes in a slightly different way. So we've looked at extension with the shoulder bridge, looked at rotation with the clams. This one is abduction, so movement out to the side. If it's too sore with your knees straight, and you can bend your knee, and that will make that a little bit easier and take the strain away from the knee as well. Again, really looking to work those glutes. If you're not feeling them, just make sure you're in a nice straight line, roll your hips forwards, push your legs back a little bit, and really make sure you're getting your glutes. So laying on your side still, this time injured leg on the bottom, we can do hip adduction, so movement across the midline, so raising that leg up and down. If you've had major hip surgery and they've asked you not to cross your legs, then please don't do this exercise. For instance, total hip replacements often can't cross their legs for 12 weeks. Please don't do this one. The next exercise I'll show you is an option to do instead of. So if you can't cross your legs for the adductions that you've just seen, Then we can do adductor squeezes laid on your back with your knees bent up. You can have something between your legs, so I'm going to use the foam roller. In some of our classes, so a lower limb class, I'll link in the description below. We've got it with a football, for instance. And all we're doing is squeezing your legs, trying to push your knees together onto the foam roller and holding for as long as you feel comfortable, ideally about 5 seconds. And we've got cat interrupting, like echo. Squeezing, holding, again feeling the muscles on the inside of your thigh this time, as opposed to the muscles on the outside of your thigh that we generally concentrate on. So if you haven't got a football or foam roller, then we can use a cushion that works quite nicely. Again, just place between those knees, give it a squeeze. Anything that gives you some resistance works quite well, and then relax out. Generally, the firmer it is, the better. So again, the other options, things like the books or the blocks that I've been using, you can use any of them as well. That's nice adductor work. So there you have it. A few bits of kit, really nice, simple, early stage post-operative exercises. What I'll do is I'll link in the bottom some of the earlier stage lower limb classes. So once you're comfortable with these and you're feeling good with your squats, then have a go at those classes. The first couple of classes give you the options of different exercises, and they become quite significantly harder as we move through. So do check them out. Don't forget to subscribe, that'll be up there somewhere. So give that button a like. Like the video as well. Leaving comments obviously helps us out. We can give you feedback. I check them every day. My colleagues are on and off as well during the week, so please check out or leave any comments if you've got any questions. And check out our other videos in the playlist that we've got going. And apart from that, I'll see you in our next video.